I said I wasn't gonna do anymore because I'm super tired until I woke up to this nonsense. Let me see. Oh yeah, I just passed it. Including how to get memberships, how to subscribe, how you can vote for us. And this is on Don Lemon Show.
Not a normal time. We need to be honest. We need to let our gay be gay and our nay.
Hold on. I think I passed it. Super tired. Okay, as we continue and re-roll this, I mean, Tara, first my observance is why all of these people for and why the waste of resources. And you guys just have to remember, our tax dollars are paying for all of this bullshit. But go ahead, Tara.
Yes, yes, and yes. Okay. I think that that's part of the conversation that should constantly be included is that we are paying for this atrocity that's going on. You're paying for the violation of civil liberties of our citizenry every day with this nonsense, the militarization and just terrorizing our communities unnecessarily. Why? What is the point of this? This is all intimidation. I just want to be clear about Tom Homan because I am very annoyed at how the mainstream media is whitewashing this guy. Okay, Tom Homan is best friends with Stephen Miller. Okay, they are BFFs. I want someone to do maybe maybe seven will do this. Someone needs to put a reel together, a sizzle reel of all the times that Tom Homan has praised Stephen Miller as being a wonderful person and a genius and all of this stuff. And we all know that Stephen Miller is a sociopath, lunatic, Nazi. Okay, that's number one. Number two, all of the times that Tom Homan has said that he doesn't care about people's rights, he doesn't care what a judge says, that they're going to come in and do whatever they need to do to get people out of this country. Okay, they need to put this all together because this new iteration of Tom Homan, this actor that we've seen since he came on the scene in Minneapolis, he's playing a role. It's bad enough that he's a mush-mouth fuck already with the things that he says. We can't understand half of what he says anyway. But then he's mumbling around trying to make it seem like, oh, he's the adult in the room. He's going to come in, and the way people are describing him is, oh, well, he's a 30-year professional, and oh, Obama gave him an award, and he was the architect of the kids in cages cruelty under Trump 1.0. That guy. Okay, he's the guy who said, yes, we will deport children with their families. Wait, we don't have to separate kids. They can go with their families. So if the parents are undocumented and the kids were born here.
So, what I'm going to be reviewing is the same thing I've been reviewing for quite some time now, and that's ICE is completely full of shit, and Trump needs to go. Now, I said that this is going to get worse, but this incident happened back in October of 2025. These people are relentless, and it's like I said, Nazis are Nazis. Militant militant Nazis who don't have no it don't have no limitations when it comes to
shooting to kill people, which this woman was hit about 5 times and she survived. Yet there are bullets in her still, and she is gracefully, by the grace of God, walking around. Now, that can happen to any one of us. Any one of us would have been in that woman's shoes, and we're arguing over what? Something that we don't own. We don't own any land. We don't own 95% of anything. And we're arguing over some nonsense. But this woman gets shot 5 times over some people who allegedly called themselves ICE agents. They're in New Jersey. Well, there's been some good news as of late. One of the seats, as you well know, just in case you don't know, one of the seats in Texas, one of the Senate seats in I think it's North Texas, has turned blue. So we need several more seats to turn blue, and we need the rest of those files in order to not only impeach, possibly, maybe, who knows, possibly incriminate or impeach Donald Trump, but incriminate his ass. Because it's like I said, it's gonna get worse. It's gonna get worse and worse and worse.
Well, throw them all out. That's that guy. So just because he's playing a role now, because Susie Wiles, the den mother of the White House came in and said, we're going to have to calm this down. We need to get this under control again. So he's playing that role. Does not mean that the same types of cruelty and violations aren't going to happen. The guy is corrupt. He took a freaking bag of cash in a kava bag, selling access. The FBI open investigation into him that was squashed once Donald Trump took over and put in Cash Patel to run the FBI. Okay, he is corrupt as hell. He worked for the Geo Group, which is one of the huge detention center companies. They're a private prison company. They're the ones that are getting billions of dollars in taxpayer contracts to build and manage the detention facilities. Him and Pam Bondi. Like the corruption level here is ridiculous, and no one is talking about this. Every single time Tom Homan's name is brought up, there should be the caveat that, by the way, there was an active FBI investigation into the allegations of him taking $50,000 in cash to sell access or contracts in the border detention space. But that went
What
away.
happened to that?
Yeah, that went away once Donald Trump's handpicked FBI director, Cash Patel, came into office and Pam Bondi. Like,
I gotta go to the thing. Oh, here we go.
So that they are targeting the worst of the worst, right?
Yeah,
And
clearly
we don't.
you're not.
Well, I'm going to play a couple things because this is Mira Martinez saying ICE is not targeting the worst of the worst. Here it is.
This administration has misled the American people by claiming it will focus on the quote unquote worst of the worst, while their actions show otherwise. Evidence from these operations, including statements made under oath, reveals a pattern of misleading the public. The government told the people they were targeting the worst of the worst, but their actions demonstrated otherwise. They are not targeting the worst of the worst. They are targeting individuals who fit a certain profile, who simply have a certain accent, a non-white skin color, just like me. This raises serious concerns about fairness, discrimination, and abuse of authority. The lack of accountability for these actions is deeply troubling. We, the people, are tired of this misconduct and demand transparency and accountability.
This is Mira Martinez, and she's talking about how the government has targeted her. She was shot 5 times, 5 times by someone in ICE, CBP, and they're trying to. This is in Chicago.
Yeah,
not
she
by
was on
ICE,
her
but
way
by-
to. She was
Right,
on her way
it
to
was
work.
the border patrol. But go on. Sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm glad that she testified. This is partially why I wanted to talk about this part of the conversation because I don't think enough people, it didn't get enough attention yesterday, what happened at that hearing. The human stories about what these bastards are doing, um, that's what's going to move the needle here. It was because cameras caught the tragic deaths of Renee Good and Alex Preddy, and because cameras caught the heartbreaking story of Liam Ramos being used as bait and taken away and detained. You know, it's similar to what happened during the civil rights era when cameras were on Bloody Sunday and people started to see the dogs being sicked on protesters and the water hoses and people being beaten, peaceful protesters. That's when you started to see a turn in public opinion. It's the same thing here. Her story, I think it was 60 Minutes. I think 60 Minutes did a story on her. I encourage everyone to Google her story and watch it. There is video of what happened to her, of how she got dragged out of her car, how she's screaming, the absolute fear. She wasn't a threat to these guys. Are you kidding me? She's about 5 feet tall. She was on her way to work. She was targeted and they rammed her car. I think that was her, where they actually created the situation where they sideswiped her and then they got pissed off about it and they,
How in the fuck do you ram somebody on their way to work? These people are coming after innocent civilians. This is unjustly. He's got to go. Trump has got to go. And for the everyday Trump supporter who will justify this, I would say the worst of the worst. But I don't feel like getting flagged. I mean, you Trump supporters are really sick. Every other episode, it's always an excuse. It's always an excuse for you for these racist bigots to have some type of justification for saying the most outlandish stuff just in order for justifying it for just getting them out of the United States of America because you feel like they don't belong here. Now people wonder how we as black people feel in America. Now Hispanics and everybody else should know how we melanated people feel about being a majority of melanated, African American, American African, whatever you want to call yourselves, how we feel being here in America. We're This is just the tip of the iceberg. It's gonna get hellified worse unless those seats turn blue. And you got to go and you got to do if you got to do early voting, do early voting. Let's get Jasmine Crockett and others from out of state who are Democratic or independent into that Senate seat. So we can get this dude out of here. And she was testifying in court. And I'm surprised that this woman, by the grace of God, she is still walking around with bullets in her body But let me continue with
And
this.
then they drag her out and the whole thing with her getting shot. It's heartbreaking. This should not be happening. And every single one of those agents should be fired and charged. She's lucky she survived. She's a mother. She has a young child. Like, what are we doing? That's the worst of the worst. I would just go through every time they have an opportunity to have these, we hear these human stories about what happened, like the Latino veterans who served this country being dragged out of their vehicles, the windows being broken for what? Why? How is that the worst of the worst? Because I don't think that they are being challenged enough on that. They're not. These are not targeted operations. Targeted operations mean you actually go in stealthily, okay? You ask any task force, anyone, I have plenty of friends who are federal law enforcement, when they're on task forces to go get people, I have friends who are US Marshals, friends who are on warrant, when you kick down doors, you don't announce to the whole world that you're coming ahead of time. You go in there with a targeted operation. This is not that. So they keep saying targeted operations. To Reese's point, that's not this. This isn't, what are you doing? So I'm glad that they testified. I know that Renee Good's brother testified yesterday. More of this needs to be put out there into the public so people can see what's really happening and beat back the bullshit narrative that they're trying to sell people. There's nothing targeted about any of this other than targeting Americans and targeting people here to try to normalize this and exhaust us into submission.
And they're targeting brown people, and they're like, you have an accent, and people with accents is crazy.
The audacity, a lot of these ICE agents and Border Patrol agents are Hispanic. They have accents too. And what? Come on now. What are y'all doing? How do they sleep at night?
I don't get it, because the I would vote with Donald Trump crowd is now crying because their loved ones have been deported or detained.
Right.
But this is Myanmar Martinez saying that she is Nicole Good and Alex Preddy.
Me. I am Renee Good. I am Alex Preddy. I am Silverio Villegas Gonzalez. I am Keith Porter. They should all be here today. I know each of them would trade my bullet wounds a lifetime of mental distress and a heartbeat to be able to be back with their loved ones this afternoon. And we must also remember the countless other souls who lost their lives at the hands of these entrusted with authority.
Reese, go ahead. I mean, that's awful. This woman was shot 5 freaking times. Was that even? Why is that necessary for them to shoot? I don't get it.
Well, I think if you look at the threshold of what they're willing to tolerate in terms of abuse and violence against American citizens, against people who are acting in a nonviolent way, when it's being perpetrated by these militias, by ICE and CBP, the threshold is through the roof. There is no bridge too far. Killing, shooting, brutalizing, kidnapping, none of that even warrants so much as a criminal investigation from this administration. They said that they opened up a civil investigation in the case of, I believe it was either Renee or Alex Preddy, but where is the criminal investigation? And yet they have no tolerance whatsoever for any kind of disruption, any kind of inconvenience when it comes to people who are protesting or doing their journalistic duty and shedding light on what is happening. And so there's such a huge hypocrisy in this. But here's what I want Democrats to do. Don't wait for ProPublica to do the expose and to do months of research. I want Democrats to set up a tip line, a website, or some sort of place. And I want people in Congress specifically to do this because they have oversight authority over this administration. And they can actually do something with their oversight authority in connecting these dots. But I want them to create a place where people can report this type of activity, a whistleblower type of website, where when they get in power, assuming we have free and fair elections ever again, they can actually do something about this. They can share information with state and local authorities so that we can start seeing some damn prosecutions. Because the problem is right now, there's no paper trail, there's no place to go. If anybody were
I think I'm gonna do a live stream tomorrow about this very same incident and other incidents that was before and after um, the Alex Pretty incident. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to do another live stream. Probably not today, but maybe tomorrow because this has gotten out of hand. But then again, I expected it, and other people should expect the worst. Um, this is just the tip of the iceberg. If you have agents out there, because I don't think, because we don't have any here, but we do have some in LA. If you have ICE agents where you are from, do not engage. Do not do anything stupid. Mind your business. Go about your business. Don't argue with them. Go about your merry way. And if you know law, I suggest you cite it. Just in case an ICE agent approaches you, you have to know your law. Okay? I'm gonna have to do a live stream on this